Welcome to Elsinore. This is an adventure game based on Shakespeare's Hamlet. But unlike Shakespeare's Hamlet, there's one big twist. In Elsinore, Ophelia, this character here in the center we play as, is stuck in a time loop. So, I guess spoilers for Shakespeare's Hamlet. Everybody at the end dies. That includes Ophelia, of course. But the thing is, after you die, after those 4 days are up, you come back to the start, probably right here reading a book, I imagine. You start the time loop again and you remember everything that happened before. So it's a sort of thing where things go wrong, but every time things go wrong, you learn more about people and the ways in which you can influence them to potentially avert the disaster and make it so not everybody dies. Just FYI, by the way, I'm not very familiar with Shakespeare's work, but before Elsinore, knowing that it's based on Hamlet, I figured I should probably know something at least about the source material, so I watched a fairly recent movie adaptation of the play. It has David Tennant in it. It's one of the more recent movie adaptations. I thought it was a pretty good movie. However, I found out that I think I just don't like Hamlet, like the story. So just FYI, I'm coming into this as somebody fairly ignorant of Shakespeare and not particularly a fan of Hamlet. But I don't think you have to be to enjoy this game, because it seems to be trying to do really interesting things on top of the base characters and the base kind of story, the general trajectory of what happens. So, let's start the prologue. By the way, FYI, Elsinore, the name of this game, is the name of the castle where all of this takes place.
Ophelia!
There you are, love. And as usual, doesn't even give me so much as a hello, father. Hello, father. That's better. And what are you doing all the way out here? I wanted to be alone a while. It's quiet here.
I see.
Avoiding me, more like. Well, I've a small favor to ask of you. Your brother's in the throne room, visiting the king about his voyage, but his majesty tends to run overlong. Won't you fetch Laertes for me? Tell him he's tardy. As usual, his trunks are sitting in his chambers, open and empty. At this rate, he'll go to Paris with nothing but the clothes on his back.
Oh.
That would come as no surprise to either of us. Of course not. And much as I try, I cannot help but think of how terribly I'll miss him. And with all that's going on here in Denmark, war brewing and such, I think my hair has gotten a little whiter even as we stand here. The nerves are taking quite a toll on me.
Father.
Go and have a stroll. Breathe. I'll fetch Laertes.
My thanks.
This is why you're my favorite daughter. Only daughter. And that as well. So there's a very, very short kind of tutorial at the very beginning here. I've just played right past the tutorial and then stopped. Ophelia acquires information, father's request. Learns more about find Laertes. It's in the journal. Yeah, basically everything that you discover of significance becomes a concrete thing that gets listed somewhere in your journal. And you can use those to tell other people about them and influence events. You'll see what I mean. This is our journal. Your Leads tab documents actions you've completed in the past, as well as hints about some mysteries you might uncover. Characters. Obviously just the two of us. Let's actually read our descriptions. It seems like a good idea. Ophelia, ourselves, Lady of Denmark. That's me. As the child of a duke, I have some small amount of standing, but as a daughter, I can inherit nothing. I've lived here at the castle all my life. Sometimes I dream about leaving. But where would I go? And what kind of life would I have? Everything I know about the world lies within Elsinore's walls. Polonius, our father. Chamberlain, Duke of Denmark, my father. Polonius is my father and the king's advisor. He can be a bit addle-brained at times, and he loves to talk a lot. But he really just likes being around people, I think. He always means well. And he's been an attentive father to my brother Laertes and me. Sometimes a little too attentive. It can be stifling. Yeah, in the adaptation that I watched, Polonius was just so obnoxious. Oh my god, they were just like some old busybody obnoxious person. I can't really quite say they were an asshole. Like, they weren't malicious, they were just annoying. Hearsay. Your hearsay tab contains information you can share with the inhabitants of Elsinore Castle. It seems like when you talk with somebody, you're not presented with a normal kind of dialogue tree. Rather, the only thing you can say is the stuff that's listed here under hearsay. So it has to be something on your list of things Ophelia knows to talk about to be able to say it to somebody. And, yeah, that's about it. This is where I stopped playing before. I really like how Elsinore looks. It's a very pleasant art style. Pretty simple, pretty smooth, but really nice. Colorful. Yeah, it's nice. So we have a conversation history down here, if we need to remember what happened. There's a map showing where everybody is. So I guess find Laertes isn't really quite what we're doing, because we know where Laertes is. They're there. We just need to get to Laertes. I think you can also fast travel, because if I click on a location, it just says, do you want to go to it? A couple different floors to the castle. Yeah. Oh, and we can also pause the game. I wonder how the days work. Because we have 4 days until we probably die and start it all over again. Do the days just pass naturally? Like with real time passing, the days pass? Or do you have to go to sleep in the game or something? I don't know. Let's talk with some people. It's Wednesday, apparently. Marcellus. So the only thing we can talk about right now is the one hearsay we have, Father's request.
Marcellus.
I'm looking for my overly tardy brother. Have you seen him around? Should I read that? Wow. Marcellus, are you all right?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Lady Ophelia. Give me a bit of a spook. Bit on edge since last night. Just, a difficult night's watch. I should clarify what's going on there, by the way. I guess most people probably know this, but if you're not familiar with Hamlet or you just forgot, yeah, saying a difficult night's watch is what just happened last night is a bit of an understatement. The basic story of Hamlet is that a little while previous to what's happening right now in the game, Hamlet the Elder, there's the younger one, which is the main character of the play, and then there's the Elder, who was the King of Denmark, died a little while ago, and taking over rule from Hamlet the Elder was Hamlet the Elder's brother, Claudius. Then fast forward to, I think last night, during the difficult night's watch, as Marcellus puts it, Marcellus and I think 1 or 2 other Night's Watch people saw the ghost of old King Hamlet. They end up telling young Hamlet about what they saw, and then young Hamlet goes with them to the Night's Watch and sees the ghost again, talks with the ghost, and it tells young Hamlet that they were betrayed. They were murdered by Claudius, their brother, who has now taken over rule. Then a bunch of stuff happens and everybody dies at the end. That's the basic story of Hamlet. You look like you've seen a ghost, Marcellus. Wink, wink. I'm sorry to have troubled you. Been up a little too late playing cards again, have we? No, not at all. Irma cleaned me out after the last game, and I haven't gone back to her for a game since. Besides, some of the other boys thought that maybe, you know, the most senior guard ought not to gamble as much. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Try to get some sleep tonight. I'll try, I will. As for your brother, I reckon he's meeting with my lord the king to get formal permission for his trip to Paris. Seems a strange thing to do on the eve of his departure.
Yeah,
Well, you know how court formalities are, milady. I don't make the rules. You'll probably find him in the Great Hall.
I see.
Very dramatic, Marcellus. Just trying to be helpful. Okay. Marcellus now believes that Polonius urgently needs to speak with Laertes. Ophelia learns more about Marcellus. Ophelia learns more about fine Laertes. Yeah, so it seems to put the things that you do and the things that you learn into very distinct places in the journal. Which is obviously going to be important because we're going to have to use them to poke and prod around with the timeline until we can hopefully save everybody, right? So as far as our lead goes, now we know where they are, although we kind of already knew anyway. And now we know a little bit about Marcellus, Nightguard of Elsinore. Marcellus has faithfully served Elsinore Castle for several generations of royalty, and is a passionate advocate of the throne. He's likely the oldest living man within its walls. He can be a little foggy at times, but years of practice with the sword have rendered him more capable than he seems. Ah, Horatio. That's one of young Hamlet's good friends. Laertes is trapped in a meeting, but my father wants to speak with him. I'm not really sure why I'd be telling Horatio this, since we already know where Laertes is, but I don't know.
Horatio.
Laertes is trapped in a meeting, but my father wants to speak with him. Ah, the good and fair Lady Ophelia. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, please don't. Enough of the poetry, Horatio, you flatterer. I was a poet in another life, you know. That was before I was a foot soldier, then a student. Now I'm, what, a professional friend? That's not a bad life. You've been many things at many times. My apologies for the wallowing. You asked about your brother. Court's being held in the Great Hall, I believe. Oh, I suppose you're right. Head there and I'm certain you'll be able to tear him away. You know, back in Florence, there is no sense of lateness. Men arrive precisely when they mean to, and meals are 6 hours long. I'd be much slower and larger if that were the case here. Yes, bless Denmark. You Danes are always hurrying somewhere. Horatio now believes that Polonius urgently needs to speak with Laertes. Yeah, so telling everybody about the fact that Polonius needs to speak with Laertes is probably going to subtly change events. Friend to Hamlet, soldier, poet. Horatio is Hamlet's schoolmate from Wittenberg. From the looks of him, he can't be Danish, but I've never known his origin. He served as a soldier in the last war alongside Bernardo, and from the way he carries himself, he must be of noble birth, though exactly how I'm not sure. He's well educated and eloquent, and always has something interesting to say. Oh, can I, like, examine the fountain, or... Oh, yeah. I used to play here as a girl. Now, though, with all these heavy skirts, better steer clear. I probably shouldn't just speak with everybody before finding Laertes, right? I mean, that'd be kind of weird. Let's go to the Great Hall. Oh, dramatic lighting. Laertes, Bernardo, busy, and Hamlet, young Hamlet. Oh, listen to event. Yeah, let's do that.
Dearest.
It's from Queen Gertrude. Oh, yeah, I should probably back up for a second and explain what Queen Gertrude is all about, by the way. They were married to the elder King Hamlet, and then when they... I'm not going to say when they died, I'm going to say when they were killed, because it is a fact that Claudius killed their brother. When they were killed and Claudius took their place, they also took their wife? Which is kinda weird. And a big point is made of the fact that Queen Gertrude remarried very, very quickly after the death of their old husband. So it's very odd for young Hamlet especially to see their mother now with another person so soon after their father's death. I don't think Gertrude had anything to do with old Hamlet being killed, by the way. I don't think they knew. Dearest, what will we do if Fortinbras wages war on our lands regardless? We'll fight him head on. He's an impetuous young boy. No more threat than a gadfly? To our throne, my love. That's how my brother would have done it. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Aye. Yes, yes. My brother's passed. But now is the time for Denmark's new glory. Now is the time for us to expand. With my lovely queen by my side, we will be a force far beyond anything the northern lands have seen before. Ophelia learns more about Hamlet, Queen Gertrude, King Claudius, and Bernardo. Another event.
Are you certain?
Prince Fortinbras will not retreat easily. He's hot-headed, as his father was. He has a temper, my lord.
Bernardo.
Are you questioning my ability to provide for Denmark's battle plan when the time comes, Guard Captain Bernardo? Not at all, my lord. Merely suggesting. Okay, guess I'm...
My lord.
Ah, they're still conversing with each other, Bernardo and King Claudius, but everybody else I can speak with. Oh, another event?
Fortinbras.
Surrender to Fortinbras? Oh, I don't think you pronounce the S, do you? Surrender to Fortinbras? Huh, the balls of a stallion, that young prince. Fortinbras claimed the late King Hamlet, rest his soul, won those swamplands unjustly from his father. My brother won them for Denmark, certainly, but with all the fairness afforded to war. He can shed all the tears he likes for that swampland. I won't bother to hear his complaints.
Yes, my lord.
We'll send our reply.
Dearest,
What will we do if Fortinbras wages war on our lands regardless? We'll fight him... Wait. This just happened. Are we already in a time loop? That's how my brother would have done it?
Yes.
Does this just keep looping?
Are you certain?
Bernardo.
Yeah, this is just the same now. Huh. Let's speak with Laertes.
Laertes.
Psst. Have you spoken to father today? He's in a fit.
What?
Ah, right. I'd completely forgotten. My mind's on Paris already. Hamlet and I both are waiting for an audience with the king, but it's dragging on. Won't you speak to the queen, Ophelia? She's fond of you. She can move this meeting along. Laertes now believes that Polonius urgently needs to speak with Laertes.
My queen.
My lady, my father wishes to speak with Laertes as soon as possible.
No.
Oh no, have you run over long? I'm sure Polonius is in an absolute fit. Give me a moment. I'll whisper in my husband's ear.
My lord.
My lord, I tire of this. And besides, I believe young Laertes must meet his father's beckon. My wife is right. We've had enough of political affairs for now. Today's a day for celebration, after all. Young Prince Fortinbras grows beyond his leash. We ought to engage not with him, but with his uncle, the true King of Norway. Bernardo, have Voltimand deliver a message to the king with our terms.
I once, my lord.
Now then.
Laertes, Hamlet, please come forward. I've been given word that both of you wish to have my formal permission to leave Denmark.
My king.
I want to travel to Paris tomorrow morning, that I might learn about the breadth of life's offerings beyond Danish walls. And I want to return to Wittenberg, because, I agree, these Danish walls are absolutely miserable. I have some concerns about each of you. You are yet young men. Laertes, what does your father say? He is worried, my king, but grants his blessing. Then I must concede. Hamlet, on the other hand...
Absolutely not.
Your mother, the queen, and I would prefer you near to us, Hamlet. You may not go back to Germany.
What?
The funeral for my brother is 2 months past, and yet you still wear black.
Ugh.
I wear mourning attire while I still mourn my father.
Hamlet.
The time for that has passed. You ought to think of me as your father now. Your father, the king. Nothing has changed.
Yes.
For your own health, I desire that you stay in Denmark. If that's your wish, uncle.
It's pointless.
As is customary, I have no choice. I never do.
Excellent.
Excellent. All is settled. And with that, let us break a little while. Court is dismissed. Thank you, my lord. Thank you.
Of course.
You're most welcome, Laertes. Swift travels, my boy.
Ophelia.
Whenever you're done here, come meet me outside. I've something I want to tell you before I meet with father. Ophelia acquires the information Hamlet is staying. Hamlet now wants to avoid King Claudius and avoid Queen Gertrude. Interesting. Wants to avoid them. I wonder exactly how that plays out as far as like what does that mean if I put them together? What if they want to avoid King Claudius but I put them in the same room together? Does something happen? I don't know. Hamlet now believes that Hamlet is staying in Denmark. Makes sense?
Hamlet.
The boy is determined to hate me. He cannot yet understand what lies beyond the veil of youth, dearest.
My son.
Hamlet is... there is such a darkness within him. I fear it may fester if we allow him to leave us. And what form that festering might take, I fear more.
My dear.
You've done right by him, I promise.
Oh.
The queen looks busy. Let us hold back.
Please.
Maybe you should hold back, but I am her lady-in-waiting of House Brockenhus. Did I pronounce that right? She can see me whenever I like. You think your family name gives you power here? A beautiful face, but an ugly soul. That's all you are.
Spare me.
And you're an old hag who needs to find a hobby outside the queen's personal life. I bathed the queen and wet-nursed her when she was not more than the size of these 2 hands. She's like my own flesh and blood. And I'll watch over her until the minute you bury me. Mark my words, Lady Brit.
Fool.
No lady-in-waiting or beautiful silken dress can replace that bond. We'll see, hag. I don't remember those characters from the movie that I watched. So it's possible... I mean, it's possible that it just wasn't in the movie. They cut that out. That seems likely. Or it could have just been added to the game. I don't know. I don't know how strict they're going to be with being faithful to the source material. I have no idea. Is this going to be the same conversation? Yeah.
My son. My dear.
Given that it happened again, I think I'm confident saying that this isn't a bug. I think it's intended that... I don't know, maybe if you like missed it the first time or just want to hear it again, you can do it again. Of course, you could always look at the conversation history, but I suppose it's kind of easier to just replay the full conversation.
Please.
If I could only dissolve. If it were only that easy to die. God, would you spite me even then? You would, wouldn't you?
This is hell.
Even though you've brought me nothing but misery in this flat, weary world. And this castle is like an overgrown garden. How I despise it.
Hamlet?
Be at peace. Look at it this way. We'll drink to your health tonight. I, and the rest of the guards, will drink ourselves silly. How does that sound?
Mother.
Father gave her anything, everything. I've never seen a love like it. I've never loved like it. And all too soon, my father's dead, and she's marrying my uncle less than a month later.
Disgusting.
She had hardly gone from shedding tears to sharing his bed. She had to move on, Hamlet. She is the queen. She cannot afford her grief. And your uncle is a suitable match. Oh, shut up, Horatio. Frailty and woman are one and the same. Come on, Hamlet. Get up off the floor now. Let's get you to bed, shall we? I have no idea how well this is supported by the source material, but in the movie I watched, at the very, very end, Horatio seemed like super gay for Hamlet. So I don't know if there's more than just a deep friendship going on there or what. I hope there is. What have you told the king? Nothing yet, naturally. Ophelia was asking me questions earlier. Well, were you shivering all knock-kneed? No, of course not. That girl just has a keen sense. All we can do is wait on Hamlet's word. Until then, we can merely wait and watch and hope it doesn't return. Yeah, so I think within the timeline, I think last night was probably the day before Hamlet meets the ghost. So I think at this point Hamlet does not know that King Claudius killed Hamlet's father. I think they're about to discover that probably tonight.
My thanks.
That meeting, we'd been in there an hour. You freed me. Eternally grateful. I sensed you needed rescuing, even though I know you've been waiting for a return to ordinary affairs. It's refreshing, no? After the dark cloud that's descended on Elsinore lately. The last few months certainly have been odd. Agreed. What was it you wanted to discuss, then? You know, Ophelia, I'm going to miss you. And I you, brother.
Hamlet.
You and Prince Hamlet, you're not, anymore... Hamlet and I aren't together anymore, Laertes. I swear it on Mother's grave. Has he given you any trouble? No, he's far more focused on glaring daggers at his uncle Claudius. How long has it been since his father's funeral? A month? 2? And yet he scarcely seems to have recovered. King Hamlet could do no wrong in his son's eyes, I'm certain. No doubt Hamlet's grief has been overwhelming as of late.
Hamlet.
And Hamlet hates his uncle for marrying his mother. I see the way he looks at him. His eyes. Like a kicked dog, angry, fuming, unpredictable. It is both proper and customary that Gertrude married her husband's brother after her husband's death. I've no idea why Hamlet's in a fit about it. It has me worried he might take out his anger upon you.
Laertes.
You needn't throw shoes anymore. Throw shoes? You remember when we were small, that one summer when that Baroness and her children came to visit Elsinore? You mean those horrible little boys who pushed you down? Yes. And when one of them pulled my hair and said it looked odd. Ah, right. I'd forgotten. I threw my boot at him. And you've been doing it ever since.
Of course.
No one pushes my sister around. Well, unless it's me, of course. They won't. That's what I'm telling you. I can fend for myself now, I promise. I'm not that little girl anymore, and I'm not going to let anyone do harm to me. I suppose that's true, isn't it? You really have changed. I see something of Mother in you now. She could be fierce like that. I likely won't see you before I leave tomorrow, but...
Laertes,
Father.
Ah, Father.
my son.
I believe you still have some things to attend to. Your ship leaves tomorrow morning, after all. You have little time to dally. You're correct, as usual. I've packed nothing at all until the very eve of my departure. Better throw a few of my best doublets in a trunk and call it a night.
Farewell.
Please get some sleep. You'll need it. I heard what your brother told you about Prince Hamlet.
Be careful.
He's right. Prince Hamlet's poison to a young woman like you. And besides that, he's going to inherit the crown someday. It's a delicate situation, that one. I know you loved him once. I'm your father. I see these things. I know I ought not to be around him any longer.
Ophelia.
For another young noblewoman, things might be different, but not so for you. These matters become more difficult for you and Laertes. I'm well aware, Father. We both are. But I'm no scullery maid. I will not be forced to shrink from him. No, I wouldn't dream of asking that. I merely desire your safety.
Yes, Father.
Of course, I understand, Father.
Sleep now, love.
Smart girl. Sweet dreams. It's late. I really ought to sleep. Ophelia learns more about get some rest. This is your map. You can use it to see when events are happening around the castle. Try clicking on it now. You can also use the map to quickly reach rooms or characters. Try clicking on your bedroom. Oh, yeah, let's go straight there. Oh, it doesn't teleport us. It just makes our character run there. I think Elsinore is a small enough castle that it's... I don't think it could ever take that long to get somewhere, even if it's the furthest possible place from where you are. So it shows you when events are happening, I guess. I mean, I guess there's nothing happening right now, because I don't see anything marked. Just a whole bunch of people still in the Great Hall. I like that everything's, every location is named, because otherwise I wouldn't know what to call any of these places. But it's nice, it helps me understand what the purpose of the thing actually is. Right, like what is this room that everybody's in? The king room? Oh, it's the Great Hall. That's the graveyard. Lower hallway, royal gallery, chapel, grounds, forest path, docks. What's up here? Just people's chambers, landing, chambers, lower garden, the walls. So should I just like go to sleep? Oh man, I've got a lot of people's bios, don't I? Well, I'm going to leave it for now. I think this is a pretty good place to end the episode. So I hope you've enjoyed so far. I really have. I really like how it looks. I'm intrigued by the story. And I really want to know how we're going to be able to influence events. It's going to be fun to poke and prod around and change things. So I hope you've enjoyed so far, and I'll be back soon.